Welcome to our fifth lesson on using SketchUp. Today, as you can see from the title, we're going to be drawing a floor plan and drawing the walls, and that will lead into the next lesson where we'll add in doors, insert materials and furniture and anything like that, so we can make a full house in SketchUp. Of course, at this point, as part of the larger project, you're finding measurements of your own homes, and then you're going to be drawing that home, your home, in some sort of CAD program. Here, we're going to do it with SketchUp. So that's what this lesson and the next lesson will set you up for. So let's see. Come on, there we go. Objectives. So we're using the 2D tools and measurement tools to draw a floor plan. We are using the offset tool to create wall thicknesses. If you remember back from AutoCAD, we've done that. We're going to use the push-pull tool to extrude the walls. And then with a floor plan, we're going to draw a floor plan given some sketch and measurements. And we'll also change the view of the SketchUp model space between perspective and parallel, and I'll show you what that means when we get to it. So let's have a look. First of all, when I was over at my girlfriend's family's house, I decided I would measure their first floor and make a sketch out of that and then draw that with you. I did not have a ruler, and I know some people don't have rulers at home, so I did find this app on the iPhone. There's probably similar ones on Android that does make measurements, and you can see this is actually an example of the measuring app working. So this is an A-size paper, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and it was able to measure that out just fine. But it's not perfect. Here's an example where it didn't work. It's that same sheet of paper. Now it's 9 inches by 12 inches, so it's not perfect. But it did do the trick for the purposes of making a rough sketch and then transferring it over to CAD, and it worked out. So this is my sketch. This is actually a second draft. So the first time around, I did what I could, got the basic outline of the house, and this is not to scale at all. This is a very rough sketch. And considering that I did have, this app that was not measuring perfectly, I did have to make a few adjustments just so it would fit in. But anyway, here's the sketch we're going to be working with. You're going to have your own, but today you're going to follow along with me as I draw this this floor plan, and you're going to draw it as well when you follow along with me. So we're going to go over to SketchUp, create a new file, feet and inches, and then we wait. There we go. So some things to start with. Always deleting this lady. Don't need her. Let's actually start with saving. We in the previous lessons we did not start with saving our files, but you're going to do this as well. Let's call it practice house, and then your last name. And we're going to use this file for this lesson and the next lesson as well. Some other things to change in here. Let's open the Views tab and the Styles tab. There we go. In this Styles tab, I did this last time as well. I changed it from this default modeling space to this simple style. I like this one a whole lot more because you get the green grass and the blue sky, and it makes it look a lot more interesting. Once you've done that, we can exit that. And now something before I show this is going into our parallel versus perspective view. When I make a line, you don't have to follow along for this, but when I make a line, I'm going to do it from over here. It might be easier to see. There we go. You might see that it's not doing it from this view. Yeah, I'll do it from over here then. There, my line is green, so that means that this line is parallel to the green axis. But clearly, that green line, I'm getting closer to the green line, to the green axis with the green line. The reason for that is because we are in the perspective view, so rather than the parallel view. So we can change that going back into the views. That's right here. So right now we're on the perspective view. I can change it to parallel view. And when I make a green line, now the two lines actually, the green line and the green axis actually do appear to be parallel. So they're parallel in both cases, but in this case, we actually see the parallel lines occurring. And the other thing we're going to change is have a look at the top view. So we don't need the 3D view for making the floor plan, the two-dimensional floor plan. We're going to look at the top view for this. And if you at any point accidentally orbit like this, because I'm going to do that a whole bunch, I bet, I'll just go back into views and click on top view. There we go. So let's get started. We're going to get going on the outside walls first. As we can see from the notes, all interior dimensions, all of these are interior dimensions. So what we're going to have to do to make the exterior walls is extrude those lines outward. But we'll start with drawing exactly what we see here. So line tool, I'm going to start with this point here at the top left corner. And that will be at the origin. So now we'll go over to the right, 16 feet, that's apostrophe, and 3 inches. And you don't have to type anything for inches. So 16 apostrophe 3, did that. Pressed enter. Now we'll go again. I'm defining the wall thickness. I did my best to measure the wall. It was about 4.5 inches. So I'll measure out 4, and you can do this 2 ways. You can type in 4.5 like that, looking at the middle of this video, 4.5, or you can do 4 space 1/2 like that. That's 2 ways to type in 4.5 inches. So there's 4.5 and then 10 feet. Cool, so that's the top side. Now we're gonna go downward, 8 feet 4 inches. So I've typed in that. Now go over to the right, 3 feet, and then down 9 feet 6 inches, and then to the left, 4 feet 1 inch, and then down 8 feet 6 inches, then to the right, 9 inches, so just 9 and then enter, and down 7 feet, to the left, 10 feet 6 inches. So through all of this, I'm just reading along, and what I've done in my sketch is I've made the walls a bit darker and the dimensions a bit lighter, so I could tell the difference. But we're still following along. Where's the dimension for this wall right here? Well, it's right over here. 7 feet 8 inches. 8 inches, good. Left, 2 feet. Of course, I could draw this entire wall all at once, but what I've done to kind of make it easier for myself is I've put in these smaller dimensions, and then I can draw the interior walls a bit more easily from there because I have those endpoints defined already. So that's 2 feet and then 4.5 inches, 4.5 inches, and then 13 feet 5 inches. Almost there. Up 12 feet 5 inches. Up a little bit more, 8 inches, pretty thick wall right there. And then we can just click on the origin right there. And there we go. There's the outline of the house. So here, just looking over here, we do have, this is the front door. We have a foyer here, the living room, dining room, kitchen. This is a closet right here. And then we have stairs. I'm not going to deal too much with putting in stairs or anything like that. It's just going to be kind of an open space for now, just for the sake of ease. But anyway, that's what this house is. And then there is a second floor, but we're just drawing the first floor for now. Let's go ahead and make those exterior walls. In this drawing, there aren't any exterior walls, or you don't see the exterior wall thickness, but we're going to put that in right now. So we're going to go over to the offset tool right here, and then click in this region, like there, and we're going to drag outward. And based on the notes, we're seeing exterior wall thickness 6 inches. So we'll type in 6 and enter. And there we go. So that is drawing the exterior walls. And now we have to deal with the interior walls. So line tool again. Looking for those endpoints. Here's one, there's the other. So here we go. I'm going to go from this leftmost endpoint between these two. You see how there's 2 here? I'm going to go from the left one, and then I'll go down 8 feet. And I don't know the angle of the slant or the distance, so I'll make a line from over here. And we have these 2, where'd they go? There's one endpoint, there's the other. So the topmost of those endpoints between these 2 will go from there, and we'll go to the right 12 feet. Then we can connect those 2 points. So here we've defined what is the living room for this house. Let's keep going. And this takes time. This takes practice and figuring out what to do next. I've already drawn this, so I have an idea of what to do next. But when you're drawing your own house, it might take a bit of time to figure out, oh, how am I going to connect these walls or so on. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do now is offset this wall and this wall right here to the right 4.5 inches. So I have the select tool activated, and I'm going to click on one line. You gotta be careful here. It gets a little frustrating. Click one line and then hold Control or Command for you Mac users, and click on this second line. Cool, so both of them are blue. Now we can click on Offset, click anywhere on the lines, and then move out to the right 4.5 inches. Great. So let's go ahead, go back to the line tool, and we'll define this 8 inch wall thickness, going with this lower endpoint right over here. And we'll go over to the right 12 feet 8 inches. And again, we don't have an angle or the distance for this slant, so I'll start from down here where my mouse is, and I'll go up 9 feet 6 inches. So line tool is still activated. There I have the 2 endpoints. I'm going to go with the left one. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I think I accidentally selected the region. Anyway, going back to the leftmost of these 2 endpoints, going up 9 feet 6 inches. And now I can connect these 2 lines right there. And it looks like I can select tool, select these 2, this line, and hold Control or Command. You see the plus comes up next to my mouse. And click that second line, and we will offset, clicking on the lines, going out to the right 4.5 inches. There. And it looks like what we can do, again, this isn't perfect, and that's absolutely fine, but what we'll do is we'll extend this wall over to this other wall, and you see how it's pink or magenta. You can see that it says extend edge, so we know that it's perfectly collinear with the other line and right on the edge here. And then we can delete this segment here as well. So there we actually have the living room defined, we have the dining room defined. Now we have the kitchen. So let's get going drawing, just keep going drawing more lines. And we have a bit of a challenge here because we have actually an arc in the kitchen. There's an arc, but that's going to be okay. So we'll go from this endpoint right here, and we'll go upward. It says right here, 5 feet, 3.5 inches. So we'll go up 5 feet, 3, and for the sake of practice, you can do 3 space 1/2 and press enter. And now I have to find it. There's the endpoint right there. And now we'll go over to the right. Let's gotta zoom in now. There it is, 3 feet. So 3 feet to where the arc starts. So over 3 feet, like that. Oh, I think I need to click in this region again because I clicked in the other window. Come on. Come on. See, I am glad you got to see this. This is real drafting. You can make mistakes. You have to delete these things. Again, I'll make a line, find this endpoint. Where'd it go? Wow, okay, so I'm gonna have to do it again. Up 5 feet, 3.5 inches, 5 feet, 3 space 1/2 inches, enter, and then I'm gonna find that endpoint. There it is. Go to the right 3 feet, enter. Good. Now what else do we have? I think from here, let's see if this works with the arc tool. We're gonna try 2-point arc. So I'm clicking on that endpoint. I don't think it's gonna be quite as easy doing it this way, yeah. So in other CAD programs, you could make a quarter circle here. You might be able to do it in this program as well, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Of course, you can explore. I'm not going to explore while I'm walking you through this, but that's part of the process. Okay, here we go. See, now you have to be careful. You have to be able to decipher your own floor plan. And that's why it has to be somewhat neat. Yes, this is a rough sketch, but you do have to be able to read it. So from this endpoint here, we're going to click there and go over to the left 2 feet 1.5 inches, 2'1.5 inches. Now I'm going to go upward. So I'm defining this wall right here, and that's going to allow me to get the rest of this wall and the curve there. I got to zoom in. Now I've actually got the paper right here. That says 2 feet 10.5 inches. So we're going to go upward 2 feet, 2'10.5 inches, like that. And then over to the left. I'm actually going to go over to the left and just go beyond. We'll delete any extra segment after we've completed this. So how else do I want to approach this? Well, actually, I do know that because it says here 10.5 inches radius, so I know that from this endpoint here, where my mouse is, I can actually go out to the right 10.5, and then I can go up and connect those lines. Then to make that curve, we don't have a fillet tool, unfortunately, but we can use 2-point arc. That's this one right here. Click on that endpoint that was right here. And we did this last time as well. I'm going to zoom in so make sure you see it. We'll go along this edge right here until it's pink. We click, and then we move around until we get it to be pink again because we're defining the radius. We click, and there you go. You can actually see that that radius was 10.5 inches. Now with that being said, now we can delete these segments. We can even delete this segment right here. And there we do have that outline right here. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'll use the offset tool. Well, I'll select everything first. Click the line, Control or Command click the line, click the line, click the line, and last one. And of course that happened. So I'm glad that happened so I could demonstrate this for you. If you're trying to click on lines and you end up clicking the region, what you can do is click on the region, right click, hide it, do the same thing for this one, hide. Now I can much more easily go about clicking each of these lines. I'm holding down Control, keep that in mind so you can have all of these selected. There we go. And now I will offset this. Did I do that right? Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. Offset tool, click here, and we're going to go upward. You know, I'm actually going to change something. I'm going to not have this line here selected. So this one, that arc. I don't think it's working. There we go. That line, that line, that line. I'm going to leave this one out. And then offset upward, I'm going to do this 4.5 inches. And then I'm going to select this line and that segment right here and offset that. You must first select a single. Yeah, I did that. Well, just this segment then. And I'll offset that. Oh, you're not too happy with me, are you? Okay. So I'm making things a little bit more complicated than I need to. But that happens. So from here, from this endpoint, I'm going to go down 4.5 inches. And then from that point, go over to the left as much as I need to. And it does line up. And then I'll close this. Good. And then I'll erase. There we go. So my dimensions are a little bit off now. But again, we're just doing this for the sake of trying it out, practicing, seeing how this all works out. So we're actually almost there. Well, we should bring back those regions that I deleted. Right here, you see here, the glasses, looks like glasses, and it says display. We'll click on this. And then here we go, unhide all, and now that comes back. All right, so just this wall to define the closet, and this wall, which is, that's part of the stairs. Just those two, and then we can extrude the walls and we'll be done for this lesson. So let's make a line from this endpoint right here. We'll go to the left 1 foot, because that's what it says right here. 1 foot. And then this wall is connecting up with this corner point right here. So I'm gonna click there. Then I will select both of these lines, that one, and offset downward 4.5. Good. And make a line so we can extend from this point, make sure it's pink, and it says extend edge, and then we'll click on the edge. There, good. So that's the closet. Here's the kitchen, and last wall to make. Here we're going to make a line starting from this endpoint. We're going to go upward 3 feet 5 inches and over to the right 9 feet 4 inches. Good. Then select these two lines, offset, click, move down 4.5 inches. Now we just need to do a little bit of cleaning up before we extrude, so I'm going to close up this wall. I think I'm good with all those. And then I'll just go around and erase any extra segments that there are, like right here. There might be one over here, I'm not sure. Oh, there's one right here, and right here, here, and here. One right here. Cool, that's it. So that, of all the things with making a floor plan or making a house in SketchUp, this probably takes the longest to do, getting all these details put together. But after that, using the 3D tools isn't too difficult. So here's our house. Now we can go orbit and have a look at, here's the floor plan. And now I'll use push pull. That's offset, there's push pull. And I'm gonna start with, rather than just extruding the walls, I'm going to also extrude the floors a little bit so that it's not completely just, a thin sheet of nothing. I'm going to extrude each of these up, let's say 3 inches. So up 3. And look what happens if I try to extrude this by 3 inches. Do what I think it's going to do. Yeah. Actually, for both of these, you see how it's not even 3 inches thick. That extrusion, it made it kind of like a shell, but that's not what we want. We want it to be 3 inches thick. So what I'm going to do is I'll click undo twice. And if that does happen, what you'll do is you'll click, or you can click on Control. It says toggle create new starting, it should say face. So you click Control, and now you see the plus next to my cursor. And now you can click up 3 inches, 3 enter. And now if I have a look down there, yep, it's filled in. So this is a solid figure. I still have that plus next to my cursor, so I'm good to go. And to get the same distance, so you don't have to keep clicking and then typing in 3 inches and enter, you can actually double click. I just did that, double clicked, and it's the same thickness. Cool. Now you see that the plus went away next to my cursor, so I'll click Control again, and then double click, and there we go. Control, double click, Control, double click. Well, that's all of it. And I'll do it again now one more time for the walls. Control, double click. So now there is a bit of thickness. It's not just thin, completely thin. Now one more time, one more extrusion. Plus, I pressed Control. Now there's a plus next to the cursor, and I measured approximately the height of the walls is about 9.5 feet. So I can extrude this. Click there. And I'm going to type in 9.5 feet, apostrophe, and enter. And there you go. There are all your walls. So we do have, again, the foyer, a closet here, a kitchen here. This is the area where the stairs are, the dining room and the living room. And from here, it's just putting in doors and furniture and changing the material. So a bulk of the work is done. So in the next lesson, we're going to open this file, this practice house _ your last name, and we will continue working on this, putting in floor material, wall material, doors, and so on. So I hope you enjoyed. Remember to click save. Gotta click save. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.